Anjarwalla, an executive of cryptocurrency platform Binance, has escaped from custody. According to the Office of the National Security Advisor, the NSA, he is a suspect in the federal government's ongoing probe into Binance activities in Nigeria. But he escaped from custody earlier on Friday. On Friday, the NSA office says in a statement today by spokesperson Zachary Mijinyawa. The Office of the National Security Advisor says that it can confirm that Anjarwalla, a suspect in the ongoing criminal probe into the activities of Binance in Nigeria, has escaped from lawful custody on Friday, 22nd March 2024. Upon receiving the report, the Office of the NSA says they took immediate steps in conjunction with relevant security agencies, MDAs, as well as the international community to apprehend the suspect, who is now in the wind. So the federal government, after the Federal Executive Council meeting, has been speaking on this. On one hand, the federal government says it has charged the man whom you see his picture on the screen and some of his colleagues at Binance for tax evasion. But there are investigation by the federal government into terror financing using that platform, which the CBN had come out to say billions of naira have been channeled through that platform without a trace. And there are some information that the federal government is seeking from Binance. Take a listen to the FRS chairman on the issue of tax evasion, which the man is said to have been charged for.
For us in revenue, it doesn't matter because we are dealing with company, not individual. So irrespective of where they are in the world, we have what it takes to make sure that they come and they comply with our law. So it doesn't matter whether the man is here or anywhere in the world. As long as we have Binance, there is no way they will escape the compliance matter that we file against them.
All right, you can hear. But there's so much more that the federal government is saying. But tonight, what I'm going to do with you tonight as our viewers, so grab your seat and let's dissect these issues all together. We'll be looking at several angles. There's a legal angle to all of this, how this all happened, the options left for Nigeria as a government to extradite this man. There's what we call the international treaties that guide the operations of exchange between countries, and perhaps under what laws would this man be tried based on the fact that he's facing a trial here in Nigeria, whereas he escaped to security-wise. What really happened? Let's dissect this together, everyone. And I brought to you some very well-experienced gentlemen to dissect this for you. I have a very senior lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, Kayode Adeluola, who joins us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much, Lionel Sik, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much indeed for creating this time.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
Great. Now, and I also have a former director of the Department of State Services, Mr. Dennis Amakuri, joins us from the U.S. Thank you so much, and it's good to see you on the program again tonight. Great. I think I should start with you, Mr. Amakuri. You have perhaps at some point held this kind of suspect in custody on behalf of the state, on behalf of the Nigerian government. How possible, from what you hear and what we understand and what we know, that maybe this man went to pray, from pray, he eloped. How possible, how on earth can this kind of suspect escape lawful custody in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. This is very, very disappointing, when I heard it. Because, number one, if the man has been classed as a threat or a suspected person to the country, he should have been watch listed. In fact, he would have been taken into custody right from when he entered the country. But he came in with a different passport, and then of course he was taken to court, and then of course he was taken again to a detention center. I don't know the NSA as whether they have a detention facility. The NSA is an advisory body to the president. So we feel that if he felt that suspect should be remanded, he should have sent him either to the EFCC, his former place, or send it to the DSS to keep until the date of the court. But to keep him in a guest house where he has access to telephones and other things, and then arrange him. I don't know who are these people, because the security people that were looking after him, I don't know who they are. But for them now to even allow him to go and pray, I think there are a lot of loopholes and lapses there. Because if he wants to pray, we have held heads of state in detention, and they pray where they eat and live and sleep. So I don't see why this particular guy will be allowed to go to the nearest mosque to go and pray, and from there disappears. And then he went through the airport, and the airport does not have him on their watch list. That is strange, because immediately he was arrested, he should have been fingerprinted, and then of course put his picture and passports number, everything, to all the land, sea and air borders. But he beats all that because he knows that maybe he can use money, and then left the country.
But when you say land, sea, and some people will smile and giggle, whatever they may be right now, who knows how porous those borders that you're talking about could be? Are there even biometric exiting entrances which works? There are ones that you can capture and put your fingers on, but I don't know, because I'm just imagining, you are the expert. Give us an understanding. Could there also be a possibility that there is a handshake with some people who helped this man escape? Is there a possibility? Is there a porosity in the borders and for him to escape? Or he could have done, it wasn't possible if he doesn't get help? Which of these theories do you think comes to mind?
Definitely, I can tell you right now, without even seeing the man, that he has rubbed hands with some security agents who allowed him. I'm happy that they've arrested some of them, and let them interrogate them. They should tell us exactly what happened and how much he gave to them to let him go. But talking about borders, our borders are porous, yes, very well. But you see, the porous borders are not used by people like this. These are executives of companies. They use the airports. In fact, from the report I'm getting, he used one of the Mid-East airlines to get out of the country using his Kenyan passport. Because if he was using what we used to call the Nadeko route, they will catch him, because that is used mainly by Nigerians, not by foreigners with his kind of face. So, if he's going through a normal airport, the watch list should be able to pick him up, because the immigration man has said it. The man traveled out through one of the Middle East airports. That means he must have gone through the security agencies. That's why he knew that he went through a Middle East airline. But then it also tells us that this man's name is not on the watch list, because if it was on the watch list, they would have picked him up.
Are you bothered, Mr. Makri, about our security in this country, especially ingress and egress?
I am very, very worried, because number one, the porous borders are not good. When we are talking of small arms and light weapons that have flooded the country, they came in through these porous borders. And these borders are still there, And of course, we can monitor this or, reduce it to as low as possible by using the technology of drones and all this kind of thing. Because borders in any country, even in the United States, is not guarded by fences, but they are guarded by all kinds of technology that will give an alert to the security agencies that somebody or some big animal is passing through the border.
Well, I mean, does it make you feel somewhat very ashamed of a kind of system that you operated and you retired from? How this can happen? I mean, what kind of image do you think this portends for Nigeria in the eyes of the rest of the world? Would they be looking at us right now?
No, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. It's a normal thing. People escape from detention, and people escape and leave the country. People have run away from the United States without being caught. The UK, terrorists have left, break from prison and disappeared. Every day there's prison break in the United States, where people are always going out and then marshals have to look for them. In fact, there was a terrorist that was in prison in Malta who broke away from that prison, went through Ghana, and was passing through Nigeria when I was on duty, and we have to arrest him. So it is not a matter of being ashamed. It's something that happens. Security agencies just have to be alert to their responsibilities.
But you think in your mind, professionally, this was a compromise, kind of?
Oh, definitely, there's a compromise. There is it.
Give me a moment. Let me turn to a senior lawyer so that I can give us. We've listened to some professional security angle to this. Let's listen to a very learned mind and look at the legal angle to it. What comes to mind, Leonard Osik, about this matter? When you heard it, I'm very sure that the legal dynamics to this were popping up in your head. Give us a sense of what to make of it.
Joe, first of all, I agree with Mr. Mercury in saying that there must have been some connivance. Now, connivance would happen in a situation where clearly a man who we considered a security risk in a sense was treated with kid gloves. The man was allowed to go and pray, was allowed access to telephone, was allowed access to various facilities. Under what law? When a man is incarcerated, it's because he's to be taken away from the members of the public in order to prevent him from committing another crime or interfering with evidence or witnesses, not necessarily until when he's put on bail, but these are things that we must consider. But aside from that, what comes to my mind readily is, how can we get this man back to face the charges that will be presented, that he will be charged with? Nadim Anjarwalla clearly knew the turf on which he was operating when he decided to escape. What we find here is, where exactly is Nadim right now? I'm not sure we know yet. Is he in the UK because the citizens of the United Kingdom are here? Is he a British citizen? Is he in Kenya? Is he still in Nigeria? We cannot rule out that fact. And if he's still in Nigeria, then we must find him. But aside from that, if we are unable to find him in Nigeria, sooner or later we'll find wherever he is. Then the question will then be, like you have mentioned, would we be entitled to commit extradition proceedings against him and in that country and ask him to come back to Nigeria to face music? If we have a treaty with the country has escaped to maybe the United Kingdom, South Africa, or the United States, perhaps we can hope that this will happen. But if it's a country we do not have a corresponding treaty with, then there could be an issue there, and we do not want to get into a diplomatic route, not at this point in time where we're trying to get our country back on its feet. But then the question then again would be, can we slam charges against him wherever he may be? Can we have him prosecuted in absentia? Or can we have him prosecuted in the country he has escaped to? If the nature of the crime he has committed is such that he can be asked questions in that country. For example, we had a former governor of this country who was charged in this country for corruption and money laundering. We couldn't prosecute him successfully until when he was taken to the United Kingdom. And for the same offenses he committed here in Nigeria, he was convicted in the United Kingdom. So these are conjectures. We need to know where he is. We need to know what kind of relationship we have with that country in which he is right now.
I mean, if the man is a tech person and has a lot of finance knowledge also, so you can imagine what will be going on in his head if he's thinking of an escape. I'm not sure the man will still be in the country. Well, that is a very it's going to be an interesting possibility if he is. But let's look at this. The Nigerian government says it has been investigating the man and his friends, colleagues, and Binance for money laundering and terrorism financing transaction, which, according to the federal government, allegedly perpetrated on the Binance currency exchange platform. It puts this kind of allegation within the purview or within the realm of cyberspace crime, which, of course, now that the man is out of the country, I began to find out what exactly, under what legal tool or instrument can Nigeria be able to get justice over what is aggrieved about on the operations of Binance. So there's the Budapest Protocol of 2001, which will allow a handshake between a Nigerian government and another government like the UK. Over 21 or so countries are signatories to the Budapest Protocol of 2001. If that is the instrument is put into action and activated, it means one thing, that under the cyberspace criminal legal framework, this man could be tried. So give us an understanding if this is an option for Nigeria. Lenelsik.
Yes, that would be an option. But like I said earlier, we need to know where he is. Second, we need to know what charges we intend to bring against him. If the charges we're going to bring against him in Nigeria are cybercrime related, then of course the Budapest Protocol will come into play, because the whole idea of that protocol is to make the whole world virtually safe for everyone. And if one person is allowed to escape the law because other countries are not cooperating, then you should make nonsense of that protocol. What we should consider is that Nigeria is one nation, and we all are connected by the internet and the global the cyberspace. Therefore, if this is going to be one opportunity to test that protocol, then we should test it and make sure that it actually works. So to that extent, if we want to try this gentleman, not only for taxation, which is one charge, one crime that we hear he's committed, and we actually want to bring charges against him in the realm of cybercrime, then we must use everything that's available to us internationally. Don't forget that when we're talking about cybercrime, we're also going to be talking about the Interpol and what have you. So every stock must be brought out, and we must ensure that this gentleman is an example of those who should not be allowed to commit a crime in one jurisdiction and flee to another. And I think that, quite frankly, that protocol will avail us. Yeah,
if you look at historically, Mr. Adeluola, how Nigeria has been able to use international treaties in this kind of realm, how the Interpol has been, we have a very strong Interpol under the likes of Mr. Garba Umar, who headed it for several years and became an advisor to the former president on international policing and all what have you. We've seen a lot of people being extradited under that whatever. What do you think could be possible? How soon can this particular situation be resolved? I'm very sure that if he steps his feet on the Western soil, it's not going to be difficult to identify him.
That's why I repeat myself again. There is a very urgent need to know where this man is. Once we identify the country he's in, it will become easier for us to begin to ask ourselves, what are the protocols, what are the treaties that will come into play? Otherwise, for now, it's mere conjecture. If it happens to be in the United Kingdom, for example, like you said, well, we would have to play the game the way it ought to, because you see, we have had situations where this same consulate also have asked us to extradite persons, and were we cooperative enough? We've had situation. We had the situation of the deceased Buruju Kashamu, who was wanted somewhere, and I don't think until he passed were successful in sending him abroad. So international law requires a lot of reciprocity, and if you haven't been very kind to one nation, you may not expect it to be reciprocated when it comes to your turn.
Tax evasion, that is one charge that we know that is being charged with. But give me an understanding, Leonard's sake, of what you may. In the realm of foreign investment, you see there are several foreign companies who operate on Nigerian soil who are not even, by the manner of their trade, they're not even registered. They don't have any building, any kind of structure on the ground. The prosecution or the kind of investigation on Binance, do you think this might have some implication on investment on Nigerian soil?
I do not think that will have any implication on investment on Nigerian soil, because whether you have a building or not, as long as your business is conducted in Nigeria with Nigerians, you are liable to pay tax. But I am aware that there are efforts at making the laws more stringent, so that when you undertake businesses online, for example, you must pay taxes to one country or the other. You are either buying here or selling there, and so you cannot pretend to be faceless or intangible. If your business is identifiable as one that earns you profit or income in our jurisdiction, then you must pay tax.
So I'm wondering, the reason I'm asking this question is that let's imagine that this is one of the commercial banks, that some of the subscribers have used the platform for terror-related activities. What is the protocol in trying to make to investigate or to prosecute those who are using it to perpetrate terror? Is it to arrest the operators or those who own that platform, or what? And that's why I'm asking whether this has an implication to those who are intending to invest in Nigeria, who may see the climate as hostile to foreign investment or investment that has an IT-related inclination.
Well, I'll put it this way. If you have your business done online or via the internet, you have a responsibility to ensure that citizens are protected and government also is protected. Protected in the sense that whatever is due to government is paid to them. You cannot conduct business virtually and pretend you do not have any responsibility. Otherwise, then you're not in good business. If you have come into our cyberspace and you conduct your business in such a way that people can use your platform to launder money, use your platform to sponsor terrorism, then you should shut down the business, because you must be in a position to identify your clients, your customers, and be able to tell whether they're doing legitimate business or not. If you're unable to identify them in the event of trouble, then you are just as complicit as they are. That's my view. And that's the reason why businesses such as banks here in Nigeria are required to have the identification and the background of their customers known. That's why you have them asking to fill various forms. Only recently we were asked to connect our NIN with and our BVN with our accounts. Those are necessary, because you're not going to ask the managing director of a bank to go after a criminal, but he must be seen to have done his own bit to ensure that criminality is not encouraged.
Let's bring the conversation home and let's try to wrap up. Let me get back to Mr. Amakri, and I'll put a perspective to this, a premise, and I'd like you to anchor and give us your own expert view on what needs to the way forward. And so this is the premise. The Central Bank of Nigeria, few weeks ago or few days ago, through the Central Bank governor, has said that that platform, 26 billion US dollars were funneled through that Binance platform without a trace. And the federal government is very interested. And there are those who believe in the finance sector that some of these tradings had affected the foreign exchange and the inflation and the effect on the value of the naira. And so when the crackdown came on Binance a few months ago, the platform pleaded guilty to money laundering charges against it by the U.S. Department of State. The platform agreed to pay 4.3 billion US dollar to settle the criminal charges. But here in Nigeria, the federal government, part of what we understand is asking information of those who have traded on that platform. As a security person, and in anchoring and concluding your thoughts tonight, give us in 60 seconds, what do you think is the biggest lesson and the way Nigeria needs to handle this?
Thank you very much. I'm not a finance man, but all the same, I don't think we have to pursue those people that are trading on that platform. You know, it is the platform itself that we have to interrogate, and that's what happened in the United States, where they have to pay was it $3 billion and stuff like that. That's why we should also pursue that company, and by pursuing the company, we want to pursue the executives of that company, not people that are trading in it. It's like a bank. If I go and put my money in UBA, for instance, and the UBA commits a crime, they are not going to come looking for me. They will look for UBA because they committed the crime and not the customers. So this is the kind of situation we have, except they have one of the customers there who has been identified as a terrorist financier or who have done some kind of illegal deals. Then I think they can call in that person.
All right.
I'm not a finance man or a lawyer. I think this Leonard Silk can tell you more on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makri. And conclude for us, Mr. Anjarwalla, on your thought, where we need to go based on the premise, the amount of money that are said to have been funneled through Binance and the manner in which the federal government had gone about this, and the implication on national security, and the manner in which you think this can be handled such that it doesn't crumble the economy or the system. Just in 60 seconds so that we can wrap this up.
Let's agree that Binance must have been operating on a platform that had computers. So they must have had people who provided them with this service. There's no doubt in my mind that no money could have passed through Binance platform without a trace. Every single dollar that has gone through, all you need to do is lay your hands on their computers and somebody somewhere can unravel everything. If you use your computer you buy from Microsoft, for example, whatever you do on that computer, it can tell you from wherever you are in America. Similarly, if you operate your printer. So for Binance to have such a wide network of computers used in America, Nigeria, and various places, there's no doubt in my mind that if you have access to their computers, everything that you need to know will be unraveled. And those would be useful equipment or hardware that would be brought before the courts for evidence and for forensic analysis. There's no doubt in my mind, but we need to have access.
Mr. Kayode Adeduola is a senior advocate of Nigeria, a very senior lawyer in Nigeria, and Mr. Dennis Amakri, who is a former director at the DSS. Thank you so much for helping to chew on this and providing these perspectives on our biggest story in the land today, the escape of the Binance executive. Thank you so much indeed, gentlemen, for your time tonight.